Hi, this is KM Wyland, and you are listening to the 4th episode of the Wordplay podcast. It's been a crazy week here. I've been juggling company, editing, and a handful of mini crises, and trying to meet my deadline of July 1st for getting everything ready for the prize drawings in honor of my forthcoming novel, Behold the Dawn. From now until the book's release date on October 1st, my blog will be featuring a prize drawing every Wednesday, henceforth Winning Wednesdays. Each Wednesday, a question related in some way to the book's medieval theme will be posted. To enter, submit your best guess using the submission form in the blog's left-hand column, or email your answer directly to me at km.wyland, that's W-E-I-L-A-N-D, at ymail.com. One name will be selected from the correct entries and announced the following Wednesday. Feel free to enter every week. This week's prize is a beautiful letter opener in the shape of the Sword of Charlemagne. Log on to the blog at wordplay-kmwyland.blogspot.com on Wednesday to view the prize, enter the contest, pick up free desktop wallpaper, and get more details about Behold the Dawn. Until then, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or complaints, please feel free to contact me at my website at kmwyland.com or my blog at wordplay-kmwyland.blogspot.com. That said, please enjoy this week's recording. Characters. Likability is overrated. Writers want readers to love their characters. We want them to connect with the men and women who inhabit our stories. We want them to empathize so strongly that they are moved to laughter and to tears right along with these imaginary people we've created. So, naturally, we want our characters to be as likable as possible, right? Well, maybe not. At first glance, it makes sense that likability would be the single most important consideration a writer has in, liking a character. But I'm going to posit that likability is overrated. Early last year, as I was in the throes of writing my fantasy, Dreamers Come, I did my usual routine of worrying that readers wouldn't like my hero. I racked my brain, trying to come up with brilliant and dramatic ways of convincing them he was really worth their affection. But, ironically enough, when I decided to rewrite the story halfway through, I ended up scribbling, "Make Chris grumpier," on my notes for almost every scene. Why? Wouldn't it have been a better move to instruct myself to make Chris nicer? Turns out that likability, or niceness, is often the least important factor in convincing a reader your character is worth his time. Niceness is a dime a dozen. In fact, characters who ooze nothing but niceness are often saccharine, exasperating, and anything but charismatic. Think of a handful of the most memorable characters you've encountered in literature and film. I'm willing to bet a good-sized chunk of money that the characteristic that stands out most is not niceness. Rather, we connect with the characters who are interesting. Such classic characters as Scarlett O'Hara, Sam Spade, Emma Woodhouse, and Philip Pip Pirrip have remained with us for decades and longer, not because they were model citizens, but because they were fascinating in their realness and in their foibled humanity. To look at this from a personal vantage point, when I survey the hordes of characters who have tumbled out of my brain over the years, the ones who have garnered a chief place in my undying affection are the ones who are more than a little rough around the edges. Dichotomies drive fiction. When we write characters who are fighting both their circumstances and their own natures, we create characters that are instantly real, and thus instantly interesting. Forget niceness. Niceness doesn't enchant readers and doesn't sell books. This doesn't mean, of course, that characters can't be good or moral. It doesn't mean the only hero worth reading about is the anti-hero. But nobody wants to read about perfection. What readers want is reality. And the reality is that imperfection is by far the more appealing option. A character's charisma is what draws readers back, not his likability. So take a good long look at your latest story and grab a few minutes to analyze your characters. Relinquishing your grip on likability will not only produce stronger characters, it will also likely up the conflict ante and squash cliches. Who knows, maybe you'll be scribbling "Make Chris grumpier" all over your manuscripts too. Thank you for listening to the Wordplay podcast. To read a transcript of this episode, visit me on the web at wordplay-kmwyland, that's WEILAND.blogspot.com, and be sure to listen again next week.